This is a disturbing report about the persecution of gay men in Chechnya. Here's a summary of the key points. The Russian LGBT network is a group that is trying to help gay men who have been persecuted in Chechnya. They have set up a hotline and are trying to send the victims abroad, or at least get them out of Chechnya. The persecution of gay men in Chechnya was reported by the newspaper Novaya Gazeta on April 1st. According to the newspaper, more than 100 people have been detained in the Republic, and 3 people have been killed. The detainees are being held in secret prisons and are being tortured to reveal the contacts of other gay men. Novaya Gazeta has said that it has serious concerns about the safety of its journalists and all of its employees after publishing the report about the persecution of gay men. Medusa has published a monologue by one of the Chechens who has asked the Russian LGBT network for help. The man's name has been withheld for his safety, and any information that could be used to identify him or his location has been removed from the text.
I am gay. Not the kind to shout about it. Even my wife doesn't know. My 4th child is on the way. I have many relatives, and none of them know that I'm gay. I live an ordinary life. But if I get the chance to meet someone, of course, I won't refuse. I need it. I don't think it's my fault. Maybe it's nature, or maybe it's an illness. In our republic, no one wears piercings, has long hair, or openly shows their orientation. Would you say, looking at me, that I'm gay? It's the same there. Many have families. Almost all of them do. These things aren't disclosed. Putting your photo on a dating site, that doesn't happen. No one among the local gays knows each other's real names, where they work, or where they live. Everyone has nicknames, which makes things difficult. They're looking for Musa, but in reality, you're said. I worked, and worked well. I had enough to live on and felt secure. I had a friend, also gay. We rarely saw each other, very rarely, and we had a mutual acquaintance. I don't know what kind of relationship they had. I knew both of them. People saw them approach me, saw us talking. Then this mutual acquaintance introduced me to his relative. Later, that relative was caught doing something, and they must have gone through his phone. From his contacts, they figured out that he was not heterosexual, and that's how, step by step, they got to me. A policeman called me. Where are you? Get dressed quickly. I'm coming to pick you up. I immediately put my phone on the shelf and grabbed another one without contacts. I stepped outside. They were already at the door. In the car. They bent me over so I couldn't see where we were going. Right away, I realized they had taken me in for this homosexuality. They searched my phone but found nothing. They took me to a basement. The doors there were thick. The air was damp. It was unbearable. That boy, the relative of the mutual acquaintance, was already there. But the acquaintance himself was released for turning us in. For the first few hours, they beat me. I had a massive hematoma here. They broke my ribs. Then came the electric shocks. They had a special coil, metal clips on the ears or hands, and then they'd start. I endured. Mentally, it was far worse. They say that if you stab someone with a knife, the wound heals. But words never do. They destroyed my psyche. They were looking for my friend, couldn't find his number. I told them I only knew people as neighbors, as acquaintances, that I had my own family. I said, if I'm gay, bring someone who can say they've been with me. I'll swear it's a lie. And I would have sworn. The guy who was taken with me, an athlete, a handsome guy, a really good person. He didn't give in either, but he screamed in pain. I was yelling at him. Make something up. Tell them something. He was in agony. That basement had many rooms. You could hear everything but see nothing. We were there for a week. They didn't feed us at all. Just starved us. No food, no water. They allowed us to pray. When going to the toilet, you'd perform ablution and quickly drink some water. In Grozny, there's a guy in the community. Among gays, he's known as a style icon. Always dresses well. Naturally, straight people who see him suspect that he's gay. But they don't know for sure. And this military officer interrogating me had been investigating him for a while. But he had no proof. Then they found him and brought him in. I was being interrogated when they brought him in. Do you know him? It was lucky we saw each other first. I said, "No, I don't." And he heard that I didn't say anything about him. So he said he didn't know me either. They tried lying to him. He told us you're gay. But he replied, "How? I don't know him. How could he be my friend?" And they couldn't press him further, so they let him go. He's abroad now. He was lucky to escape. He has no kids. He lives his own life. And he wouldn't have survived such torture. He might have given up names. While they were holding us, they eventually found my friend's address. They went to his house, but his parents said he had gone to Rostov. Then they called him. He immediately sold his property for half price and fled the country. That saved us. Soon after, they let us go. They told me not to leave, to always be available for them. Not a word to anyone. Stay home and be reachable at all times. But we had already planned to move. And of course, as soon as I was released, we left. I started working, living a normal life, gradually settling things. But I turned completely gray. People didn't even recognize me on the street. My relatives, if they had found out about me, they wouldn't have even let them kill me. They would have done it themselves. They wouldn't tolerate such a disgrace. They knew I had been detained but didn't know why. They asked that policeman who arrested me. He just said, "I was told to bring him. I don't know anything." My relatives insisted. "He doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, doesn't cause trouble. He does nothing wrong." Then one policeman said, "There were rumors that he's gay." The relatives replied, "How? He has a family. That's impossible." But they didn't look for me much after that. They decided, if that's the case, we'll wait. When I got home, I said, they were looking for someone I knew. Through me, they wanted to find him. Later, one relative pulled me aside and said, "There was a rumor about you. I nearly died of shame." I said, "It's not true. What kind of gay am I? You know me. It's all nonsense." And then the wave of arrests of gays started. How did it happen? In our republic, a kind of mania took over. Well, not exactly a mania. They banned alcohol. It became nearly impossible to buy. Only in 2 or 3 places, and only for a few hours. So everyone switched to pills, Lyrica, tropics, psychotropics. Many got hooked, and they arrested one guy over those pills. Of course, they searched his phone. Oh, Hornet, found photos. And from there, they started rounding everyone up. This whole disaster began from that accident. They held people in Tsatsenyurt, in an old regiment building near the bridge, referring to a building on Kadyrov Street near the bridge over the Hulhila River, Medusa's note. I know for sure. My relative works there. He doesn't know I'm in the community. He called me. "What are you doing? Bro, can you believe how many gays we have in Chechnya?" I said, "What gays in Chechnya?" Can you imagine? 200 people brought in, even him. And he named someone famous. I said, "No way." "Yes, I swear. We were given the authority to hunt them down." I asked why. To shame them. They call their relatives, turn on the camera, and say, "This is your man. Take action. We can do it. Or you can. Either you kill him, or we will. Choose what's better." And they record it probably as proof. One person I knew was taken and released home. He died the next day. I know the names of those who were killed by their families. Another guy, from Poland or Germany, used to travel freely. A positive guy. Came to the Republic, and they caught him. Held him for 40 days. When he was released, his legs were black. That's why I fled. A former neighbor called. Soldiers came, knocking, looking for me. She lied, said she didn't know where we moved. That same day, they took my acquaintance. They let him go almost immediately. They weren't after him, but he overheard them mention my name. Now we're going after him. He called me. "Hide. Disappear. They're coming for you." I was terrified. I started running from one acquaintance to another, restless, not trusting anyone. Only a friend convinced me that there was help available. The Russian LGBT network hotline editor's note. Medusa? I had heard about it from others too, but I didn't believe it. Everything can be bought and sold, and I have a family. I have to live not for myself, but for them. I have children. I can't take risks. But I listened, trusted my friend, and now I am here. My parents don't know where I am. I didn't even tell my wife. I lied to her, saying that a friend had offered me a job. She said, "If it's that good, then go." I am just starting to recover, taking glycine, all sorts of pills. The beatings, fine. I can take that. I won't even complain. But mentally, they destroyed me. If it weren't a sin to hang myself, I would have done it already. I wake up in terror. I go outside and constantly feel like someone is watching me. I'm afraid of my phone. If a car stops, I flinch. I don't even want to live in Moscow. They are everywhere. There's no way back for me. Now I am traveling to an unknown place. I have no idea what will happen to me. But I know one thing. If I manage to relocate, I will settle down